direct population vote. First of all, I would say that you said that we say it's not a big deal because you said because of 4 presidents. Actually, that shows that the Electoral College actually works. For example, like you said, in the 2000 election, a quote from Matthew Venia on should the Electoral College be abolished. He states that everyone remembers Al Gore lost Florida. What everyone forget is Gore lost New Hampshire, Missouri, Ohio, Nevada, and Tennessee, all by less than 4%. In fact, if Al Gore had won any of these small, insignificant, merely 3-vote states, he would have been president. This shows that Florida recount shows that the Electoral College did its job, and the 500,000 people in Wyoming had their votes count. So their goal is to abolish it because it doesn't work for our modern society. But it does, as you saw an example in the 2000 election, because it still works, and that was only 11 years ago. My first workability claim is that direct election would not work because different states have different rules. Currently, the popular vote in each state directs the electors of that state how to cast their vote for president. And in most states, whichever candidate wins the popular vote in that state wins all the state's electors. But since the manner of choosing the state's electors is left by the Constitution to each state. So different states have different rules. The Cron Watch said, for example, in Maine and Nebraska, the winner does not take it all. Rather, the candidate who wins the popular vote in each congressional district wins the electoral vote from the congressional district. And the candidate who wins the entire state receives the state's 2 remaining electoral votes. So basically, the direct population vote would not work because all our 50 states have different constitutions within the state. My second workability claim is that direct election has been around, like in France, Finland, and Russia, and it did not work in France, and France had to abolish it in 1962. And that was quoted by apatheticvoter.com. Now, my disadvantages claims are direct election changes presidential campaigns for the worse. So, like, as the first affirmative speaker said, people shouldn't be able to campaign for their office. But if you do direct population vote, it would actually make more people campaign more like corrupt. A direct election scheme almost certainly would boost the already astronomical cost of presidential campaigns. It would probably offer a new temptation for self-financed millionaires to run as independents, knowing that their major party opponents would no longer have any insurance of electoral advantage. And that was stated by David Broder in A Dubious Electoral Idea in the Washington Post. Basically, people like millionaires like Donald Trump would go run president because he has enough money to have commercials or go travel around to the biggest majority cities. Also in that, with a corrupt presidential campaign, is a quote from Curtis Gaines, who is the Committee for the Study of American Electoral. He points out that the idea of getting rid of the Electoral College would be profoundly dangerous, particularly in the present way that we conduct our campaigns. Initially, what this would mean is that the quality of our campaigns would be a television advertising, tarmac kind of campaign. You would be handing the American presidential campaign to whatever media advisor could outslick the other. Different states and different regions have important interests to which the candidate should be subject and to which the candidates should be required to speak. Direct elections would ensure that all monetary resources would be poured into television political advertising. There would be virtually no initiative to try to mobilize constituencies, organize specific interests, or devote any resources to such things as voter registration and education. What we have is a political system that combines the worst of network television with the worst of modern campaign. My second disadvantage claim is that direct election affects the distribution of campaigns and also affects the minority groups. According to Dave Leak's Atlas of the U.S. presidential elections, the Electoral College contributes to the cohesiveness of the country, requiring a distribution of popular support to be elected president. Without such a mechanism, they point out, president would be selected either through the domination of one populous region over the others, or through domination of larger metropolitan areas over the rural ones. Basically saying that with direct election vote, that the president candidate will only go to big major cities instead of rural ones. And I have some examples from Matthew Vania, and he says that they would, for just popular vote, they would just go to a dozen cities. Only about a dozen cities would need to be visited, like LA, New York, Houston, Miami, Chicago, and Philadelphia, and a few others. There was no need to visit small cities like Pierre, Green Bay, or even Portland. He also states that that if a politician could get half of California, Texas, New York, Florida, and Illinois to vote for them, they would have as many votes as Gore had in 2000, which was 50,000 or 50,999,897 votes. So that means that with direct population vote, you would only need to go to the major, the states with the most population to get enough votes as Gore did. And he also states that half of the states would become irrelevant. He says that all you need is to campaign in California, Texas, New York, Florida, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Georgia to reach 50% of the population. My last disadvantage is direct election creates more close elections and recounts. And
I think you're out of time.
Yeah, so direct election creates more close elections and recounts, and it also destroys our political stability.